Okay, I've got the bow lightly assembled. This is a 30-pound youth bow, and it's got fiberglass arms. I'm going to make the weaving bow the length. The nice thing about this is it breaks down, so it'll be easy to carry in a bag. I think for style purposes, they look really good, full length. So I'm going to leave this at its 57-inch length with probably 3 inches cut off of each end. Remember, when we cut the fork on the end, it's very important to have a rounded bottom to the bottom of the fork. And we're going to do that by drilling a 1/2-inch hole. I'm going to cut this off with a bandsaw, and then I'm going to use a special sanding tool to smooth this off. I'm going to show all those tools. This can be done with a hacksaw and a hand drill. You don't have to use power tools for this. Just for expediency purposes, I'm going to use power tools. But a 1/2-inch hole, and then cut the end of the arm of the bow off, and then cut that down into a wide notch that makes a V with a rounded bottom. And I'm going to pause the video, do those things, and come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, I got the tips of the bow cut off, and I'm going to measure down 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches or 2 inches, I think, is a good depth for the fork. This bow is plenty long enough. You're not going to hurt the length of your weaving. So I usually make them 1.5 inches deep. I'm going to make 1.5 inch mark. I'm going to divide that in 2 at the center. I'll do that on each end. And I'm going to drill my holes. I'm going to drill my holes there, and then again use the bandsaw to make a wide V to the bottom of the 1/2-inch hole that's drilled here. Then we'll use a special tool to smooth that off. Okay, you can see the tip of the end of the arm of the bow has been cut off and the hole has been drilled. The next step, and this would work just as well with a hacksaw, is to cut a wide V down to the edges of the 1/2-inch hole that makes the V have a rounded bottom. Okay, the fork has been cut in the end of the bow. I've still got my respirator on because I'm going to demonstrate this tool. And the idea from here is just to smooth this out where it doesn't leave any rough edges that would cut the warp of your band, because the band is going to be tied to these forks on the end, so you want them nice and smooth. This is just a standard drill, and this is a sanding cone. They're available on Amazon and eBay, and for smoothing edges in any kind of woodwork, especially anything that's got like folded edges like these forks do, these things are worth their weight in gold. They're fairly cheap, and I just use a hand drill for them so that you can do this. Let's not get that in my drink. And I'm just going to run the edge of the cone into the fork until it's nice and smooth. And it turns kind of a lengthy hand sanding job into a really quick exercise. So here's the fork, this sanded and ready to mount to the bow, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to reassemble the bow. Okay, I got my PPE off here, and got my earplugs out and my respirator off, and I'm just going to reassemble the bow. And when I get these arms put on, you're going to have a weaving bow. So this will be a finished project. It's fairly simple. It's easy to do. It can all be done with hand tools. You don't need any power tools to do this. The next video, I'm actually going to warp the brigand heddle, which is the oldest known heddle from Scandinavia. I'm going to warp the brigand heddle, and we'll warp the bow. So we'll clamp the bow to the table with a C-clamp, and we'll make enough warp that we can use this loom with plenty of extra to make a nice long band. And I've been wanting to experiment with some ideas with the brigand heddle. Brigand heddles has a very unusual configuration, and it's a number of us and band weavers that are working to try and understand some of these ancient heddles, because they're not configured like what we think of as a modern heddle. And I've always been positive that the brigand heddle and the Roman heddles had a special purpose in band weaving, and they do.